Good evening, my fellow reefers. It has actually been a while since I've made a video. So, unfortunately for you guys, in the last couple months, I've gotten a new job, and unfortunately with that, I haven't had a chance to make a video. The last video you saw was actually pre-recorded months ahead, so at this point, it has actually been, I would say, maybe 3 months since I've actually made a video, which is super crazy. But today, what I wanted to talk to you guys about is lighting, specifically the Orphek OR4s. So, not being able to make videos about lighting is offsetted by obviously making more money at my new job, and being able to do that allows me to buy new toys. And one of the toys that I've wanted for a long time is additional lighting for this tank. One, for a couple reasons. One is better coverage, and then also more color. So if you've watched my previous videos, I run this tank currently with Orphek icons, specifically 3 of them. And while the lighting itself is actually really good, it's not, I would say, overly blue compared to a lot of other lights, for example, like an XR30 blue. And though they obviously clearly grow coral perfectly fine, it doesn't give you a lot of color pop like a lot of people want. I would say even with the blue set at 100%, the corals honestly look a little dull, but they grow absolutely fantastic, which is perfect. So this is where additional lighting comes into play. And luckily, in the last couple months, I have been able to get my hands on the new Orphek OR4s, which, let's go ahead and disclose right now, I did fully pay for, and they were honestly not all that cheap. But by purchasing these, we did a sky blue and I think it's just called a blue plus, but these are the options from Orphek to add that extra blue, extra color pop to really bring out the colors of the coral, which you can see right here. Now, to start off the review of the Orpheks themselves, I want to go ahead and talk about the fixture itself, mainly the build quality. So currently these are run with Osix. What that means is it comes with a ballast as well as a controller, and that allows you to control up to 6 of these bars for each ballast. Currently I only have 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and it allows you a variety of different options or color options for the different type of bars that you might want, which is super awesome. And as far as the app goes, it is excellent. It's very responsive. It's not, for example, like a Red Sea that needs to load every couple minutes. These, immediately when you open, they're connected. Play with it as quickly as you want, no load times. It's honestly super great. Same with the icons. Now, the fixture itself is going to be like the aluminum stuff, what you normally get with a lot of these, Chinese branded fixtures that just have their own LED chipsets, and then a nice kind of a piano black acrylic finish. And I do believe this is an IP rated fixture, so it can be splashed with water. It will not hurt the unit, though obviously I'm not going to test something like that, but the fixture itself looks super good. Now, one complaint I do have are actually going to be these end caps right here. And you're going to notice something that's really annoying. These are supposed to be sealed, but on every corner, so both sides, this side as well as the side with the plug, there is this gap right here. And to show it to you super well, I have lit it with a flashlight, but every corner comes like this. Clearly, it is not sealed. That annoys the living crap out of me. I kind of don't want to open it and then, adjust it and screw it back in place. It should come out of the factory like that. But as you can see right here, it's clearly not sealed. And you do actually have that problem on both sides. We'll show you right here. And clearly, if this was to fall into the water for any reason, chances are it probably wouldn't make it. I mean, that's clearly not a perfect seal. That is a definite quality control issue. But, you know, as long as you know, for example, your fixture isn't going to just drop into the water, I don't see that being, you know, too bad of an issue. But it is something that kind of peeves me as far as quality control. But of course, every brand has that. For example, the AI blades have the cords that aren't perfectly flush, and then they show like the wiring inside or whatnot. So it's also not waterproof. But that is something, as far as the build quality, I would definitely fix, because for how much you're paying for units like these, it is honestly kind of unacceptable. You know, you're spending for these 4 units, it was upwards of $1,000, and I expect something a little bit better. I mean, it is aluminum, but also it is just 4 screws you could have screwed on, made sure it sits straight, and that would have done it. You know, now next up, we'll go ahead and move on to pricing. So for these 4 units, I paid $12.50 for 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the Osix, which is able to control all 4 units. And the reason I went with these units, besides the fact that it goes well with the icon, it's just one app, is actually that price is, to me, pretty good. Obviously, you can get some non-controllable options for a lot cheaper. You can, you know, get Chinese LEDs for cheaper. But the main competitor I feel like this would kind of go against would be, for example, the AI blades. A lot of people have them right now. A lot of people say the color on them is absolutely fantastic. I haven't seen one in person, but if I was to get a light bar and price wasn't an issue, the AI blades would be it, just because of how recommended they are from other people. Now, for one 66-inch AI blade, it would have cost about $1,000, and that's just for one blade. So if, for example, I wanted one in the front and I wanted one in the back, that is about $2,000 that I just wasn't willing to spend, unfortunately. And at that point, I do think that these Osix, Orpheks OR4s, whatever you want to call them, they fit the bill a lot better. So like I mentioned, I paid $12.50 for 1, 2, 3, 4 bars. I still have the room for another 2 bars. And they are going to be fully controlled as far as intensity, as far as schedule, and it just made a lot more sense to buy this than, for example, the AI blades. But like I mentioned, everybody has a different budget. These are kind of what I was willing to pay, and for me, they just fit a lot more, especially since I already have the icons. And so we decided to go with these. So we have 4 of the 60 inches. And like I mentioned, I still have room for 2 more. If I decide I ever need more coverage, I maybe need a little bit more par in this tank, I'll have that availability in the future. And the best part is, it's 4 lights plus 2 more on one outlet. So instead of, for example, having 2 AI blades, each taking up its own outlet, I have 4 of these on one outlet, and that saves me a lot of room on my outlet for additional items that I might want to add here without, for example, you know, maxing out an Apex energy bar. And lastly, we are going to get to the most important part, which is the reason or probably why you're watching this video, and that is the color. And overall, the color is pretty darn good, I would say. As you can see here, it does a good job fluorescing all the coral. Clearly, I have an orange lens on this tank, so it is a little bit exaggerated as far as the pop, I will say that. But, for example, I would say the couple items here that are true to color are going to be the Zoas right here. They really do pop as good as you see in this video. Same with the Jawbreakers. They are just absolutely glowing, especially the gold one. The SPS, I would say they're a little bit over exaggerated. I'll definitely give it that. But overall color is super good with this fixture. Now, if you yourself are considering buying these lights, there are a couple tips that I will give you. So not a lot of people have Orphek lights, so it's honestly hard to judge what they're going to look like, because, for example, you can't go to a local fish store and see what they look like in person, just because not a lot of people have this fixture. I basically faced that exact same issue, And these are a couple things that I learned from these lights. And number one is going to be their blues, which is this fixture right here that has the little couple violets and purple LEDs. The blue itself, you don't really see a lot in the tank. It does give a little bit of pop, but I wouldn't say it's super visible in the tank itself. You know, you can't really tell that they're on besides just a little bit of pop that it gives to each of the coral. And if you do want pop, the one you'll want to get is going to be the sky blue. This is what Orphek on their Facebook group, for example, or on customer service, that is what they recommend. That is a mixture of these blue and kind of like a, to me, they kind of look like a turquoise colored LED. I mean, I don't know what the actual term for that is, but this fixture is what they say to use if you want the colors to pop. And I will say they absolutely do make the colors pop, which is perfect. But there is one thing you'll want to consider when you use these sky blue bars, and that is the Windex effect. So I know a lot of people who have had, for example, the Generation 5 Radions, they mention like a Windex effect, where that certain blue color just gives kind of a Windexy tint to the tank. And though you can't see it with this orange lens that I have on here right now, sky blue does that to the tank, and that to me I don't really like, but it also gives you the coral pop, which I do really like. So currently set for my tank, I have these actually set, the sky blues actually set to about 50%, and then I have the regular blues set to 100, and that kind of gives me the pop but not super amount of pop, and then the nice blue color to light up all the other corals. And that, I think, is the perfect ratio, or at least for me, that is the perfect ratio of, you know, color to visual appeal. Because I like it blue, I like a lot of color. Now, I won't be measuring par with this unit, unfortunately, just because I've never owned a par meter. I honestly, truthfully believe they're not really necessary. I never had them as a kid when I first started reefing. I've never used one yet as of now. And, you know, hey, tank looks fine. If you're ever worried about accidentally burning the coral, for example, start low. You know, everything's controllable these days. It's not an on and off type of fixture. So if you need to, start at 30%, start at 50%. You know, you don't have to max it out at 100 and burn all your coral to death. It's as easy as starting slow and just working your way up just to make sure all your coral, you know, acclimate perfectly fine. And while we're on that same subject, I don't have one of those spectrometer things either to see what nanometer these lights are or whatnot. Same thing. Honestly, at this point these days, any reef light is going to go coral. I don't really think that's an issue that anybody needs to worry about anymore. They say, oh, complete spectrum this, complete spectrum that. Even if it's not complete spectrum, it grows coral perfectly fine. Crapping on lights all day, I don't really think that matters. And to me, that is the perfect mix, because while I do like a lot of color, you know, a lot of pop, I don't like a lot of blue. I actually prefer my tanks a little bit wider, because that is what you see in the ocean. And also, it being too blue kind of hurts your eyes a little bit sometimes. And actually, I will say sky blue and the blue plus, if you put them out both at 100, it is a little bit too much, especially those violet LEDs. It actually kind of hurts your eyes. So these lights are fairly strong. But if you are to get the sky blue, I would say maybe don't get all sky blue. 1 or 2 fixtures, if you're going to do a setup like mine, is definitely going to be enough. It's straight up overpowers the other blue LED bars. So if, for example, I was to get another 2 LED bars just to, you know, fill out the full 6 here, I would definitely get the regular kind of blue plus ones that they have and not get the sky blue, because it is just such an overpowering Windex blue that I don't think I'll ever run it more than 50%. But overall, I am super impressed with these lights. They definitely do give very good coverage, especially in the corner areas where I may be lacking a little bit of light, because the Orpheks here at the end, they just don't have too much punch on the corners, which is okay. Most of it is like dead center of the light, but overall, like I mentioned, color is fantastic, growth is fantastic, and as long as you don't go overkill with the sky blue, you can kind of see the Windex effect on the sand. But yeah, as long as you don't go too crazy with the sky blue, I think they are super good. I do wish they would fix the little corners right here, just to, you know, make their quality control a little bit better. But that is really the only peeve that I've had with the Orphek bar so far. But other than that, I am pretty darn satisfied. So let me know in the comments what you guys think, and thank you guys as always for watching. I'll try to put more content out. I should be doing a 2-year soon, just because 2 years, it's been about 2 years, so we'll go ahead and maybe post one of those videos. But as always, thank you guys as always for watching. I do appreciate the support, and I'll see you on the next episode.